We've been talking about the initial report that prompted this huge turnout by police. We've now learned that the initial report of a man with a gun, which was a little bit after 10 o'clock this morning, was accompanied by information that preliminarily the man did threaten another student with that gun. No report of shots fired, no report of any injuries, and the question as you look at the sealed off campus right now is, has that gunman in fact left the school, or potentially is the gunman still inside who threatened the student? So a little more information on the initial call that brought police to Community College around 10 this morning. Right now they have sealed off the campus. It's in lockdown. They are sweeping through the school. The initial report is that a man with a gun inside the school threatened another student. No reports of injuries, no reports of shots fired, no active shooter situation right now. But obviously the most important question here is whether or not there is a possibility that the person may still be inside the school. Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey is coming over right now to speak with us and give us an update. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning. Let me start by saying this is all preliminary information. Like any other case, as things start to unfold, as more people get interviewed, there may be some things that might change. But at about 9:30, two individuals who know one another had a confrontation, an argument that had been taking place over some time. At least one is a student. It's possible that both are students, but we can't confirm that the person seen with a gun is actually a student at Community College. This occurred outside, down the street here. The person with the gun, who threatened an individual with the gun, was seen walking into one of our buildings here called the Winnett Building. SWAT has gone in, has cleared the building. It's attached to a garage. They're in the process of clearing that now. They will begin a search of the other two buildings, but we aren't certain if he's still on site or if in fact he has left. There is one report that he was seen walking down the street. We just don't know and have not been able to confirm. We're looking to see if we can find any video that might help us in terms of seeing whether or not he's still, on site, or if he did in fact leave. But these are people that knew one another or know one another, apparently been involved in an argument. At some point during the course of the argument, one individual does pull a gun. He says the complainant says he actually saw a gun, but then he threatened to call security, and the guy turned around and left. He was last seen going in the Winnett Building. But as I said, we have swept that. SWAT has been through that. He is not in that building. They are checking a garage that's attached, and then after that, they'll start a search of the other buildings. Right now, everyone is sheltering in place, which is standard.
In the Bonnell Building?
No, it actually happened just outside. They had a confrontation with one another, and that's when the gun was seen, and then the person with the gun went into the Winnett Building. Now, that's what I have as of now. As we investigate this further, as we talk to people that may have witnessed this, some of the facts may change slightly, but this does not look like an act of an individual that random in nature just coming in to start, firing upon the students as we know it now. This is person to person. Yeah, male, black, 5'4", wearing gray pants, a blue shirt, and a red hooded sweatshirt.
Commissioner, for the family members, obviously, of the many students, teachers, the people who are here, probably worth reiterating that at this point, and maybe even earlier, no direct threat to them right now, no lives in jeopardy at all.
These are two individuals that have a history and know one another, and there was an argument over something which I do not know at this time what the argument is over. So we should be able to ID the suspect because they do know one another and get our hands on him. But right now what we want to do is make sure that he's not a threat to anyone else in this area.
Are they both students?
One is a student, the person who had the gun pulled on him. The complainant is a student. It is not certain as to whether or not the other individual is. I'm told he was at one time, but whether he's currently enrolled or not, I can't tell you. I don't know.
And clearing a school like this obviously is a very meticulous detailed, which accounts for the huge turnout of police. Many people see the large number of police and assume that the worst is going on.
Well, you've got a lot of entrances, exits, and then SWAT has to secure and be able to sweep to make sure that we don't have any threat to the students or faculty that are in the building.
Now, where are SWAT team searching right now?
Well, they've just finished the Winnett building, and they're doing a garage that's attached to it, and then soon they'll move over here to that West building and the Mint building, and they'll begin a sweep of that. These are large buildings, so it takes a little time before that'll be complete.
And this protocol has been carefully rehearsed. We had another incident here, I know, a year or two ago.
About a year ago.
Very, very similar.
It's very similar to what we had about a year ago.
And what about this Masterman? Is that school also on lockdown as a precaution?
I don't know if they're on lockdown or not. We certainly did pass the word that they were aware of what's going on. We have our head of security here for public schools that is here. Whether or not they physically locked down or not, I don't know the answer to that. Certainly they're alert, they're aware. I wouldn't be surprised if they did as a precaution.
And again, not clear if that suspect ever actually went into the building. It's sort of.
Well, he did go into Winnett. He was seen going into that building. But whether or not he left before any calls were made and before any response is a different issue. But he was last seen going into that building. But he's not in there now because we've cleared that building. So whether or not he left and totally left campus, which one witness is saying they saw him going down the street here, or whether or not he entered into another building, that's the part we don't know. And out of an abundance of caution, we're going to sweep these other two buildings just to make sure, because we don't have any video confirmation at all that he has left the area.
This doesn't have anything to do with yesterday, does it? With the
No, it just seems like two individuals that are in some kind of disagreement or argument, and which is not unusual, unfortunately, for our city. Some of these folks have guns, and guns are often used. So, but it doesn't look like it has anything to do with yesterday at all, anything to do with Oregon, anything to do with any of that. These are two folks that had a disagreement, and it happened to happen, unfortunately, at a school, but fortunately, no one has been shot.
Did the complainant notify?
No, one.
Did the complainant notify Philly PD or the CCPC?
Well, we did get the call come into our center. Now, whether he personally made the call or someone else made the call that observed it, I can't tell you that now with 100% certainty.
So who actually witnessed the gun? I'm sorry, I got here a little bit later.
Well, the complainant, there was a student, he who is a student, who was threatened. Okay, and he actually saw it. And as you would suspect, other people witness certain things. They may not have a whole story or understand what's going on, but they did see something taking place. So whether the 911 call came from one of those folks, came from the complainant, in any event, about 9:30 is when we got the call and we responded.
Commissioner, what's your biggest concern right now? Because there's so many people in this area, students at school, across the street,
Well, the biggest concern is always that we're able to sweep, make sure everybody's safe and things can get back to as normal as they can get back to, and that we don't have any immediate threats to people at this point in time. And that's always the biggest concern. It just takes time to do it. But I think it's also important to get the message out that this does not look like it's at all attached to what came in yesterday as a threat that was not considered to be a credible threat, but a threat nonetheless, and we had to respond and react to it. This does not seem to be related to that at all.
Do you know who the individual is?
I'm sure we'll be able to ID him. The complainant does know him. I'm not in a situation to give a name right now.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right?